Hello, lovely. I am here to answer a question. And the question is, are all divine feminines twin flames? And I think that's such a good question because no. No, they're not. And I don't mean does everyone who thinks they're a twin flame, like, are they actually a twin flame? No, I don't mean that. I mean that there are other groups of spiritual beings out there that are divine feminines, right? They embody feminine energy in a very divine way. That is different from a divine feminine who has a divine masculine. If you are a divine feminine who has a divine masculine, you are a twin flame. If you are a divine masculine and a divine feminine in a relationship dynamic, maybe you're not, right? Maybe you're just two divine beings that happen to embody feminine and masculine energy. But if there's not a mission tied to that pairing, then maybe you're just soulmates or high level partners or sacred partners or just spiritual beings who found somebody else who's really good because you attract a similar energy. So, yes, I do believe that there is actually a difference between someone who identifies as a divine feminine and someone who identifies as a divine feminine twin flame. And I think that with this channel, I would like to start to separate the two. I'll do videos that are designed for divine femininity, right? Just being in your feminine energy in the modern world in this day and age. But I'll also do videos, especially in the early phases, because that is who my audience has been for a really long time, you know. I'll also do videos that are for divine feminines who are twin flames and have divine masculines and are anticipating reunion in this lifetime. And that's because I think that there is a greater challenge. I think that if you don't have a specific person that you are designed and ordained to be with, then I don't know, there's a lot of freedom in who you choose to be with, right? And I think also the relationships don't always have to be with high level soulmates and all. It really just depends on what is necessary for perhaps your individual mission. But I think that if you're a twin flame, there are three missions tied to your life. And when you are seeking advice about how to be a good partner, whether or not you should put up with certain things, whether or not you should wait for someone, how do you do separation in a way that isn't painful? Like, those are questions that I think are very different because the way that we most likely were designed is that we are the types of people where relationships matter most to us. For some people, it's their job or their career or their purpose. For some people, it's family specifically, but for some people, it's love. There's all kinds of different things, but I think that there's like probably maybe 3 to 5 specific core, what would you call that? Cares. And I think that those of us who are twin flames, we were actually designed to care most about love or intimate relationships because that is where we're going to have to do the most. That is where we're going to have to be willing to put the most energy. That is where we are going to be able to learn best how to operate successfully with our partner as mission workers in the future. And so I think it's very common to find twin flames that were boy crazy like me growing up, where if I had actually taught to, I'm going to keep it real, taught to like respect myself more than I was, because I was taught to kind of be a lay down for not even just for men, for women too, like to just give of myself and give until I have nothing left to give and then go recuperate alone and no one's going to pour into me and then go back. A lot of twin flames get that. Interesting. A lot of twin flames are the black sheep. There is commonality, and I think that it's very important to consider that in making me someone like that, it meant that Mr. Lightwork betraying me the way that he did early on, that honestly, if we weren't twin flames, if I didn't care the way that I did, even though I needed to outgrow that behavior, right? I need to grow up, I needed to evolve. I wouldn't have stayed with him. And a lot of us would not care about our person the way that we do in separation. A lot of us not would have ignored the feeling that we had about this person after breaking up or ending things or separating. A lot of us would not be on this journey if we didn't have those traits. And the amazing thing about this journey is how it's so strange that yes, the lower path can absolutely lead you to obsession and doing things that they gonna make a documentary about you if you don't stop. You know what I'm saying? But the higher path, I've actually healed from being boy crazy. And I know there are gonna be so many comments about that. For whatever reason, I'm not gonna address it. I'm actually okay with being alone. Like if things don't work out with Mr. Lightwork, if he's not my twin. Matter of fact, if I find out like this isn't even a real concept, it's all just been a trap or something, like I don't think I'd even be mad because what I've learned about unconditional love, the wisdom I've gained, the boundaries that I have decided to put up, the love that I learned that I had in me to be with someone who was making it difficult to love them. Oh my gosh, like I'm grown, y'all. I'm grown. I am a different person. And when I started my journey, I had hit rock bottom. I even did a whole performance about it. That's how I met Mr. Lightwork. I met Mr. Lightwork the night I performed a poem slash rap called Rock Bottom. I want you to understand that this journey of being a divine feminine twin flame, when they say it's not for the weak, I don't think it means that, if you identify as a weak person or something like that, that you can't be on the journey. I think it just means that it calls upon an inner strength that many of us didn't even know we had for various reasons. And sometimes that's even outside of love. Sometimes there are things that our person will do or say or whatever, even downloads or reflections we'll have, where we will change the way we allow people to treat us that have nothing to do with him or her, that have nothing to do with our person. And so I do think it's really important for divine feminine twin flames to not only have a supportive network of divine feminines who are not twins, so that they can see what divine femininity looks like when there isn't a relationship aspect and it's more about just divine femininity. I think that's important. I think it'll help us to embrace being divine feminines. But I also think it's extremely important to help divine feminines who are processing through these deep, hard, confusing aspects of love relationships that, frankly, society does not support. Look around you and ask yourself, where's the love? Where's the unconditional love? I talk about this all the time that it's now thirsty to text somebody. Oh, I got your number and I text you immediately to say, here's my number. I'm not texting her. She's weird. That's the kind of, you could get the ick from, up, I have the ick now. I'm over it. That is very conditional and probably super transactional. And I'm not saying that I've never had the ick. But my point is, if we live in a world like that, and then we discover something like twin flames, it is going to require us to step out of the matrix and to think for ourselves. And that's why I'm such a big proponent, especially if you aren't someone, because at least 50% of my clients, but it's usually more like 70 to 75% of my clients before Twin Flames had never watched a tarot reading. I will say at least 50% of them had never even dove into anything spiritual, never had one. Like I've had a couple readings in my life because I grew up with spiritual people. Like my mom had the Tao and the like Celtic cross. My mom had everything you could think of all over the house, and my mom didn't believe in any of it. She was just an explorer, I guess. And so it's like I think that it's really important that we all look at how everything comes together when we get on this journey, and that some of us, the only way we can get any information is something that is not for us, that we don't understand, that we don't appreciate, that only brings more questions than answers. And then there are some people who they go looking in the astrology, but they don't understand astrology, and maybe the astrologers they find don't respect twin flames. Like there's all this stuff that we can't really be served as we are, and we need our own collective. And so I do want to make certain that I can be that person that helps you tie it all together for your life and your journey. And I think one of the most beautiful things for every divine feminine out there is to find out that their journey is so much bigger than the general readings they've been getting. And I'm not just saying like, oh, they get a personal reading and now, no, because even a reading is still, let's see what comes through or let's answer some specific questions, but to actually look at our whole life, to look at everything we are, everything we know, everything we believe, and discover that all of it was pointing us in a certain direction and that twin flames helped us to unlock it. I think that there's nothing wrong with processing through relationships. So those are two different paths, right? There's the path of the non-twin flame divine feminine who could be anyone, anywhere, who identifies and embodies, feminine energy. And then though, because they process just in their own way, they might process through some other thing, but those of us who process through relationships and we're divine feminines and we're twin flames, we should honor that it's okay to do that. And a lot of spirituality is the reason they look down on us is because we want to process alongside or with another person. And spirituality is typically an individual journey. When you think about the spirit walks that someone might go on, the dream vision walks, I don't remember what all that's called. Even ayahuasca, if it's done like together, is typically a journey on your own. It's about breaking your own stuff. There's a lot of spirituality that goes against everything twin flames are. We need to have our own space to be able to move beyond that and understand what we are meant to understand in our own way. So do not be ashamed if you process through relationships and you're a twin flame. It's actually divine helping you to integrate information faster because that's the way that you were programmed and wired. If you recognize over time, oh my goodness, I'm not a twin flame, I'm just a divine feminine. No wonder I was so confused. You're not less or better, or it's just a different path. And if you realize, let's say as a divine feminine, that all this time you've been thinking that it was just about femininity, and now you've understood, oh my gosh, I think I might have a counterpart. I think there's something going on. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to freak out. You don't have to feel like, oh no, I'm one of them, or because I know that it can be scary discussing twin flames. I want everyone to be able to trust their process. And I think that it's a beautiful thing as a divine feminine to process through looking at the opposite, right? Looking in the mirror, processing through the masculine energy can actually give us a richer healing and growth experience because that's how we were hardwired, and that's okay. So I hope this helps. And if you have any specific questions about twin flames, being a divine feminine twin flame, about divine masculines, even, obviously I'm going to probably share it through the lens of being a feminine. But if you have any questions like that, please let me know. But also, this is not just a twin flame channel. This is a place where I get to kind of break free of constantly talking about the same 5 things, because there really are only a few things as a twin flame that you need to know, and you can be sent on your way and you're going to have an amazing journey. But if I do that, I don't make any money, right? No wonder all these readers and coaches and guides and gurus don't just tell you those things and let you go on your way. So if you have questions, just ask me and I'll tell you. But if you want to know about anything else, about just relationships, partnerships, being a feminine in the modern era, if you want to know what superior femininity looks like compared to low vibe femininity, anything that's non twin flame related, but still about being a feminine in this day and age, I would love to help. I would love to share. I would love to look into it. I would love to see what downloads come through. So please do ask. All right, everybody, I'm going to get out of here. If you made it to the end of the video, leave something purple in the comments. Talk to you later. Peace.